Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk about a topic about which I don't think too many people talk about is how to hire a young junior analyst. Why I'm saying young is because somebody who's fresh or somebody who's got 1 or 2 years experience in a small firm and who's done some of his own investing and lost money. It's a great person to look for in an analyst. If I have a big budget, I would look at a person who has failed in a .com business, and there'll be very many people, not necessarily a .com business, any business. He started a business, he got educated, he started a business, he failed in the business. This is a fantastic way to recruit a business analyst, because every analyst is ultimately a business analyst. So when people ask me about the big fund managers, anybody, I'm not naming them because I tend to name the same set of people, and they are largely very good business analysts. So instead of giving them equity to manage, you give them debt to manage, they would do just as well or almost just as well. They may have to pick up some small nuances in debt the way they have mastered equity, because they mastered equity over a long period of time, and with experience they know pricing, how to negotiate with the promoter, how when he is doing an OFS or an IPO, how much to take, how, and position sizing. They know all this. In debt, you will have similar things which they need to know, and so they may learn it as little. They may take little time to learn it. So, but they could do a debt. They could handle a debt portfolio just as well as they could handle an equity portfolio. So when I'm looking for a junior analyst, what all am I looking for? First of all, I've got to make sure that reaching me is very difficult. They should not be able to reach me with their CV very easily. So then the question is how much trouble they will take. They'll search for an email ID, they will find out, and then they will reach me. Step one. Step two, I would ask that person to pick up 3-4 companies and make a do an analysis, their own criteria, their own checklist, whatever it is, and then send it to me. So that has to be, and it has to be, I will also ask them to pick up some, give them some numbers and ask them to predict over 3 years what would have happened in that industry. And the pricing would not be from 2021, it would be from 2015 or 2016. To say what could have happened. Yes, of course, they will do some googling to find out which is the company name, etc. But this exercise I would give them sitting in my office. Access to Google, yes. Access to anything online, fine, but with a time frame. So it's very difficult to do a decent job of doing an analysis of a company, maybe with past data over a short period of time, even if you have access to internet or whatever. You should not have access to the company. You have access to the company website if you have identified the company. It will take time, and therefore there will be a time limit to this. Then I would ask for decent writing skills, and then I also find that this person has very good analytical skills but no writing skills. It will not stop me, because it is easy to get a person to write than a person to think, right? So this will be another criteria. I would also ask him or her to give me a list of books they have read. I would also ask them to list books which they have read and they didn't like at all. It could be anything. For me, it is Shobha De's books. I just couldn't finish reading it. I left the book in the train in which I was traveling, and after that I have not touched a book written by her. I've read her articles are easier to understand. It's a small 500 words, 400 words. But her book, I just couldn't go beyond the first book. I don't even remember the name of the book. So something like that. Give me books which you read and you're very happy. Give me books which you read and you're very unhappy, and therefore you have not read that author again. That will tell you how much of bias he has or she has, right? These are the ways you find out, because you cannot, then I would again ask him or her whether they had a family of investors, like if father was investing, grandfather was investing, family was investing. So did they discuss balance sheets and all that at lunch or dinner? Did they ever talk about money? Did they ever talk about business? Did they say this business is doing well, that is not doing well? Take up some simple businesses. Have they ever analyzed and said why they want to buy that share, why they don't want to buy the share? Some businesses are very simple, like say cement manufacturing seems to be much simpler, or a restaurant or a hotel business seems to be much simpler than something like a Reliance, which is a very complicated sum of parts kind of thing, or even an HDFC Limited. It looks like a simple business because the main business is mortgage, or that's what we think, but what the strength lies is in the portfolio. So does this person, if I've asked him to analyze, say, HDFC Limited, does this person find out what is the main business, what is the side business, and what is driving the valuation? Definitely it is not the mortgage business which is driving the valuation for HDFC Limited, right? So being able to find out whether this person is able to find out, that is very important. I would make the person sit and write all this, perhaps by hand, or perhaps give him a laptop and type, whatever, to check out how much of patience he has, because writing down requires a lot more patience than typing, because typing you can always go back and correct, whereas you have to apply your thought a lot before you start writing. I would ask him to keep all his working papers for me to check when he has done valuation. What is the criteria that he used? What are the ratios that he used? I need to know, and I need that on paper or online, wherever. If he's used Excel, I want him to preserve all those worksheets. I don't want him to delete and give me a final product. I want to see the process which he uses to reach the conclusion. To me, that process is more important than the conclusion. This is what I tell young parents about children. Don't help them with homework, don't help them with project work. The teacher is not going to see the final result. The teacher is going to see the process. Has your child understood the process of doing this homework? So when you do the homework for them and you do it very well, you are being unfair on some other kids who will be judged very harshly. But today I think teachers also look at the project done by a second standard kid or a third standard kid, and they know that this was outsourced to somebody. I believe even homework outsourcing happens for a fee. So luckily I never needed all that for my daughter. Every project she did on her own, and I'm sure it stands her in good stead, even though at that age of 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, whatever, they must have felt, oh, my parents are so cruel, they're not helping me. Exactly like that for an analyst, to ask him to pick up industries which he thinks he understands. If he's an engineer, MBA, let's say he did engineering, he worked for 2 years in a particular industry, then he needs to know everything about that industry. I mean, that would be my homework for him. You worked in the automobile industry, very good. I want you to talk about the automobile industry or a specialized portion of it. I don't expect you to understand the two-wheeler, four-wheeler, the heavy and international markets and the engine being outsourced. I don't expect you to understand everything, but just pick up one small thing. Maybe pick up two-wheelers and know everything about two-wheeler, because that's an industry where you've been for 2-3 years, right? You work for 2-3 years in an automobile company, and then you went for your MBA. Fantastic. Just do research on that industry. If there is no such thing, then you pick up a very simple industry and tell me, how do you think this industry is going to be after 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, because you're doing that work. Of course, you can change your mind after 6 months, 8 months, maybe a better cement company emergence. You bought X and something better than that emergence. You will, of course, have to sell what you have bought and buy the new company. That's fine, but the process is what you are looking for. If I'm looking for academic qualification, let me just, all I have to do is cut out basis of saying, okay, I want this combination. That itself cuts out a lot of people. If I want a chartered accountant, I say, okay, I want rank holder. If I don't get enough, I say, okay, first attempt. Then I say first attempt, at least in final. Inter could have been second attempt. Somewhere I dilute, but at least I know the basis of selecting that person. This was the criteria. This is what it attracted. After that, I can mold him or her. That is not a problem, but the process has to be very difficult. It should not be hello sir, I saw on Facebook that you're recruiting, or I saw on Twitter that you're recruiting, here is my CV, which may have even come as a forward from somebody else, or some parent, over enthusiastic parent sending it. I don't want any of those things, because I cannot teach passion to the guy, right? I cannot teach experience to the guy, but I want to know whether he is really interested, whether she is really interested, whether maybe I pay 15 lakhs or 18 lakhs as a starting salary. Will he just move for 16 lakhs or 19 lakhs? Then that is not the kind of a person I'm looking for, because I'm going to be investing a lot in that person. And that is the way how research teams are built. And remember, the research analyst who is a junior kid today will become a research analyst, will become a head of research, could be moved as a fund manager and could become a CIO. His tomorrow's CIO is how I have to look at every guy whom I am recruiting or every girl that whom I am recruiting. I would also look for good Excel skills, but it will not stop me because I can teach Excel. I would look for reasonable communication skills, but it will not stop me because I can teach communication. Teaching English and communication is much easier than to give passion. I don't mind a student who does not have a city background. In fact, in my team, I would want people, some with city background, some with non-city background. I want children who have grown up in joint families. I want children who have grown up in single families. I want to recruit somebody from Kashmir. I want to recruit somebody from Punjab. I want to recruit somebody from Shillong, Assam, whatever. I need to recruit somebody from Madhya Pradesh. I also need to recruit somebody from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and all over, because I want a geographical diversity in my team, right? So I want geographical diversity. I want communal diversity. I want language diversity. I want background diversity. When I get all this, then I can set up a team. So what do I look for in a junior analyst? I look for many of these things. Sometimes you find, sometimes you don't, and then you say, okay, this is how a team is created, because you don't want 11 wicket keepers, you don't want 11 pace bowlers, you don't want 11 batsmen. You're creating a team. You want a batsman, you want a bowler, you want a wicket keeper, you want a captain. You're looking for all these things. Maybe all of them are all-rounders, that's fine, but I'm putting together a team. So after some time, I will ask the all-rounder to specialize in something and become a batsman or become a bowler. I may need some all-rounders, but I don't want all all-rounders. That is how I go about building a equity analysis team. Thank you.